Joe Hopkins here, and the question, it's asked right down there. Why are budget guitars so popular, right? It's a pretty good question. Let's start with why. Why is the guitar so popular? We could just go with, it's an awesome instrument. And that's it, but that hardly tells the story, right? The guitar, I believe, is this popular. Well, not I believe, it is. It's as popular as it is because it has been the primary driving force, the main instrument in popular music since the real rise of country and rock and roll music in the 1950s. I mean, before that, it wasn't the main instrument, right? It was there, but it wasn't as big a deal. But then, you know, blues kind of morphed into rock and roll and country and that kind of stuff. And now it's a driving force, right? And people want to play the songs they hear on the radio, and that's guitar, right? So, yeah, guitar becomes popular. It's a popular instrument. Now, you know, guitar-based music has been falling off over the last couple decades. Electronic instruments are becoming more and more popular. You know, electronic pop music, a lot of it isn't as guitar-based anymore, but it's going back in the other direction. Starting to, a good bit, heading back toward the guitar and guitar-based music lately. And, you know, why are budget guitars so popular? Well, let's start with the fact that budget guitars, right, inexpensive instruments didn't used to be this good. For anybody that's younger than, say, 30, 35, yeah, this is an awesome guitar, and it didn't cost much, and it wasn't available back when I was learning guitar. Unfortunately, most lower-priced beginner models weren't very good once upon a time. Not very good at all. If you ever got an acoustic guitar back in the day, it would usually, yeah, get ready to have some pain. It hurt your fingers. The action was terrible. The electric guitars usually weren't very good either. I personally was fortunate when I was just learning to play. My father's a musician. He plays guitar and flute. So he knew a thing or two about guitars. You could get good guitars at a low price if you knew what you were looking for. Most beginners don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what's good and what isn't. And I lucked out. My dad knew. This is good, this isn't, you know, I got reasonably priced instruments that were reasonably good. Always had good guitars around. But most people didn't really have that. But then, over the years, manufacturing has changed. You have things like a CNC machine, which can pump out guitar bodies and necks and all the wooden parts and a lot of the metal parts inexpensively and quickly. And each one is just like the last. They're pretty identical, so you have pretty solid, you know, quality. You know, you're not getting a bad one here and there. Same thing with a lot of the parts and pickups, and modern manufacturing techniques enable you to produce a consistently quality instrument over and over and over again at a much lower cost. And then the Chinese got into it. Chinese manufacturing didn't used to be very good. Chinese stuff was crap. And that changed at some point. The Chinese decided, hey, we want to be a little more capitalist than we've been in the past, and Chinese industry started picking up, and Chinese manufacturing got good. To get good at anything, you have to do it. And when the Chinese really started doing it a lot, they got better and better and better until, not just with guitars, but a lot of industries were affected because they started making all kinds of good stuff, right? I'm into cars, I'm into hot rodding, and when the Chinese started getting really good at making turbochargers and car parts and things like that, oh man, it changed everything. That whole turbo LS craze is because the Chinese started making cheap turbos that were good. But anyway, back to guitars. So now we have, right, we have all these really quality guitars. A lot of companies starting up, selling guitars. Is there a market for it? Well, yeah, the market picked up. A lot of that has to do with social media. The wonderful thing with social media is, well, when I was a kid, you listened to music, you wanted to play that music, you went to learn the guitar, and you hung around with other musicians, other friends that played the guitar, and some older kids or older people that played the guitar and learned from them. But now you can learn all the guitar stuff and be, you know, be around guitar people online. It's all very available. Plus, it's visible. It's very visible. A lot of really popular Instagram, TikTok, YouTube stuff is guitar-based, so you see it. People don't get into stuff that isn't there, right? So now you're seeing it. It's in your face. It's right here, which is really cool, right? You're seeing it a lot more, and I think that's increasing the interest in learning and the guitar or an instrument in general. Including odd instruments have become popular again, right? Like the hurdy-gurdy. Whoever thought that would become a thing? But man, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, they got those hurdy-gurdy videos, and now people want to learn how to play that very strange instrument. So, but yeah, guitar starts getting popular because of social media. I think that does have a lot to do with it. And then COVID happened, and guitar sales went through the roof during COVID because, well, what's holding you back from learning an instrument? Time. Usually that's it. I work with a lot of people that all say they'd love to learn to play an instrument. Usually the guitar, sometimes the banjo or the fiddle, sometimes the piano. But what's holding them back? They don't have the time. When we were locked down, people had the time, right? Most people learn to play an instrument when they're a kid or a teenager because you have time. You don't learn as an adult because you don't have time. But all of a sudden, everybody had time, and they started looking to buy instruments, to buy guitars. Guitar became the big thing, right? And here you have all these companies, newer companies selling rather budget instruments, and now there's a growing market for it. And I know it's growing. Why? Because I have a YouTube channel that I talk a lot about guitars, and I watch a lot of YouTube channels that talk about guitars, and I've noticed the interest going up and those channels doing better. And, so yeah, why are budget guitars so popular? They've gotten good, and there's a bigger market. People are more interested. Another really nice thing about these budget brands is the consistency of the manufacturing. Because of all those new manufacturing techniques, they can pump out like 1,000 of them that are all almost identical to each other. That isn't something they could do before, right? In the past, you definitely wanted to go to the store and play the thing before you bought it because they weren't all the same. Two guitars could come off the same, manufacturer around the same time, same people built it, but they're different. A lot of stuff was done by hand. And now you're getting consistency, a lot of consistency. These are very consistent. These guitars, this one in particular, I know, when I ordered it, they sent me the wrong one. They sent me a left-handed one. And then I sent it back and I got the right one, the right-handed one. But having messed around with the left-handed one and then the right-handed one, right, same model, the whole thing, they're almost identical. I mean, they're indistinguishable, really, other than they being reversed. But the guitars, the whole thing, the quality on it, the way it feels, hardly any difference at all. I couldn't tell you there was any difference. It's almost like this guitar, this particular guitar was just reversed. And that's something that didn't happen in the past. But with that consistency, it means you have a greater assurance of getting a quality instrument, which means if I buy a guitar and I review it on my channel and I tell you it's pretty damn good, you have a pretty high amount of confidence that if you order it, you're going to get the same thing I got. And, having bought a good number of guitars online, I've found that to be fairly true, right? Every now and then you get a dud. Something gets through that there was something wrong with. But by and large, if you get one good one from them, the next one will be good too. And, that means that you have a lot more confidence in ordering online. It's not as necessary to go to the store and try it out. I can tell you how this feels and you can take my word for it and pretty much bet that the one you get will be the same. And that's a really good thing. That's a good thing for companies that sell instruments online. And most of our budget guitar companies are selling online, which is another thing. Online sales. It means that you don't have to get into stores. You don't have to sell your product as hard. You don't need a whole sales team to go out and get different stores to carry your product. You can sell it direct. You can sell it online. It's not as necessary to have a distribution network like you used to in the old days. You didn't, you can do it all online. I order the guitar and then they box it up and ship it to me. That makes it a lot easier for smaller companies to get started up. That's another good thing. And that small company, they'll order a run of these from China, put them for sale on their website, and sell them directly to me. All of that adds up to these are available. Budget guitars, good quality, low-priced guitars are more available now than they ever have been at a time when there's almost more interest in playing guitar than there ever has been. And it means that these companies are going to get better because they're doing it. To get good at something, you have to do it. So the more you do it, the better you get. And with a market, they're going to do it more. They're going to get better at it. So they're only getting better. And that's an awesome thing. And this, I guess, will last until interest in the guitar flags again. It's happened in the past where people are less interested in the instrument. And it might happen in the future, but for the time being, this is great. And it's also great for people like me who want to own a bunch of guitars. I could never have afforded to own a bunch of really decent instruments, and now I can. I can afford to buy plenty of them. They're not expensive, and they're all really good, right? Of course, the one I'm holding is a Sawtooth. These are good. You take my word for it. They're very good instruments. I own a number of Sawtooths, and I love them. But there are a lot of other brands. Harley Benton Guitar Fetish has 3 different brands under their belt. Firefly, and you can just go on Amazon and take a look. They're all pretty good. That's, in my opinion, why budget guitars are so popular now, right? Even if you have a couple high-priced guitars, it's good to have a couple cheap ones to play around with, and they're good. They're worth getting. You might even surprise yourself. You might get surprised. You might get one and go, "Wow, this is really good. Why would I spend like $2,000-$3,000 on a guitar when you get one this good for a couple $100?" So there we go. There's my thoughts on it. I hope you found this shit informative, man. And or something like that. And if you want to see some of the reviews I have on this one and other guitars, here in a minute, playlists come up. There's one that says reviews. You can go through there and see what good stuff I've reviewed. I've reviewed a bunch of guitars. And if you want to hear me play those guitars, I got a playlist that comes up called I Didn't Get a Memory. That's my album. Check it out, man. It's pretty awesome. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I love y'all. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.